Hello, I'm Thomas Chiu. I'm here to share the reading strategy. Let me introduce myself first. I am an associate professor in Chinese University of Hong Kong. My research interests include digital education, STEM education, and teacher education. I'm also associate editor of 4 journals. The reason why I want to join the online journal club, first I would like to thank Professor Lim invite to join this meaningful project. I would say that this event gives us opportunity to share our work and also to interact with the participant, and then get feedback, and then we all can learn together how we do that. I want to share one of the paper. This paper actually, the paper is a digital support for student engagement in blended learning based on the self-determination theory. This paper is published in Computers in Human Behavior. So what's the angle that I want to share by reading strategy? Now, I think research method is very important. You can learn it from lecturer, you can learn it from professor, you can learn it from your peer. So I would like to talk about how we can learn from reading a paper, a journal paper. So the angle that I want to talk about, my interest is mixed method. That means that quantitative and qualitative. So when I look at it, how can I do that? First, of course, you look at the abstract. You find that you can see that there's a key that is called mixed method research. That means this paper is talk about it. So when you search some journal paper, you look at it. Oh, it is the paper I want to know. It's what I want to learn. So how you do that? And then it's mixed method. That means they have a quantitative and qualitative. So what I would do is, quick, because I'm talking about research method, I'm not going to look at the literature. So when you look about this one, so when you specifically, I usually go to the middle of the paper, because according to APA format, the research questions and the research, this study or current study is usually put in the middle after the literature review, or after the research get presented in the article. So you can see that when I look at this one, how we write it. Apparently the first two one, you can see that they're quantitative because they have the hypothesis. So they have something that we can learn from this paper reading this. So, okay, the first two one are quantitative. So, okay, quantitative, you have to present a qualitative strategy. Another one, RQ3, because it makes method. So the other one is a qualitative method. So you can see that, the question is more about qualitative, talk about, it's not really concrete. You have to use some descriptive data to answer the questions. So, okay, when I look at this one, when you go further, so another one is, you can say that, okay, let me look at this, the method. So you look at this one, and then you can see that, okay, they have to, because one of the key things, because in research is your participant, the context. So, we also can learn that how they give the background of your study. So I look at the 3.1 participant. So basically talk about who they are, where they come from, and then how many students of them, how the gender ratio, and also how you analyze it. In quantitative, the one very important thing is about the minimum sample size, how you sample them. So you have to talk about it. And also, other than this research design, we also have to talk about the procedure. So you can see that this paper, let me look. So you can see that the 3.2 is actually talk about, how they, how the author conducted research. So you can see that. So it's very detailed. They actually start from very beginning. Talk about experimental study, or there's a control group, digital group, experimental group. So how they do that is very specific, how each of the step answer each of the questions. So you can see that RQ1 and RQ2 using experimental, and RQ3 is talk about qualitative data. So they want to get the perspective from the participant. So they use interview to collect those data, and then something like this. So you can see that it's very important that a good paper should give you a coherences. So in this paper, you can see that there are three research questions there. The first one is quantitative, the last one is qualitative, and also how they collect data, answer each of them, and also give you the whole background. It's very coherent. So you can see that. Another one is so you talk about all the procedure, how they get the ethical approval. When I look at this one and I go here, so actually the another one they have to report this, because this is a mixed method. So the quantitative one will expect how they measure, what they measure are, how they collect the quantitative data. In this paper, they use questionnaire. So they have to talk about the questionnaire. So you can see that 3.3 about the instrument. So basically describe, all the instrument, all the measure that they used in this study. So you can see that 3.31, start to talk about all the things. The one important thing is, in this way, give you a sense that how you write it. So you can't just say that, oh, I have a whole set of item for your questionnaire, because first, this paper is not a paper that for instrument development. This is just an experimental study. So we better to use some item that which is validate or verify that in their study. So this paper, you can see that they're actually using some other established paper. They talk about their instrument, their original reliability. You can see that the alpha is 0.92, 0.88. So it's very important that to tell people that the measure that you use are not random. They are from some other scholar. It's very important. So you can see that 3.31 and 3.32 is similar. They talk about how they each of the measure, and then of course interview is a qualitative analysis, and 3.4 is very important. So now we have a questionnaire, how they collect the data, the measure, what kind of reliability of the instrument. So how they analyze it, you can see that 3.4 talk about how they analyze it. So again, in this part, I think it's very important that we have to make sure that the reader understand, how we analyze it, the data, how we analyze the data for each of the questions. So you can see again with signposting. So RQ1, RQ2, RQ3 is very important. So again, so you can see that talk about each of the method, how they analyze it, so how would they cook it. So it's very important. Done. So result, I'm not going to talk about this because actually it's not really how you depend on how you read it. So I want to go to the discussion. So myself, I found that a good paper that we should have very, very systematic presentation. So you can see that even though result, I'm talking a little bit how to lay out. So you can see that they also follow the sequences of the RQ. So the similar, like 4.4 is a qualitative, the previous subsection quantitative result. So again, when we go back here, it's all, you can see that when about discussion. So in discussion, how can we do that? I've read a lot of different journal paper. Sometimes I find that it's fair, we want to help our reader, the person that will read this paper, help them to read it easy. We don't confuse them. So you can see that here again, as I post it, highlight, the RQ1 is supposed to be like this, the find result support this argument. For example, the first one is talk about, the proposed digital support have very significant, a lot of significant, impact on the perceived lead, something like this. And then RQ2, so you can see that here, RQ1 and RQ3, both data that support this argument, RQ2 is support this one. So it's about the writing, how we read it. So myself is, by reading it, you learn how about the method, how you design your study, and also, how you write your own journal paper. If you are studying a mixed method, we can follow the flow like this. Again, my key thing is sometimes we learn how to from reading a paper, how we present your idea, your method more systematically. So you can see about here. So this we are not only talk about the finding, they also talk about very specifically highlighting. There's a section called practical suggestion. This means that what we can do. It's very important that to have a paper that contribute to theory or to the field, but we also, because my study is more about education, one of the key things we have to impact the policy, the practices. So I think that it's very important also to present where we have to make a new session that, okay, it's a practical suggestion, make it everyone understand that, what they are. So again, so again, for the limitation, I also that there one thing that we have to in this paper to talk about sometimes limitation. We have to address the research method that we have. So very similarly, you can see that the future, like for example, so the future study should adopt a longitudinal study to track how the student engagement. My point, my goal, what I want to share is learn how to, learn research method from reading a journal. In this case, a mixed method. Not just learn about the research method, not only just how to design a method, but also how to present it. So you can see that in this paper, it's everywhere. It's like mixed method, mixed method, mixed method. So I think, and also my main point is we have to help, how about reader, when you write a manuscript, how about reader to read your paper more effectively. This is what I want to share. I'm hoping to receive your feedback and also talk to you guys. Thank you very much.